Now that you've got a solid foundation of what to include in your resume, I'm going to reveal 4 secrets that will take your resume beyond the basics. This next section is the most important. It's the essence of this course, so it's critical that you pay close attention to how you can use this information to transform your resume into something special that accelerates your interview process. The problem with most resumes is that they read like job descriptions, meaning that the content listed under each job title simply describes your job responsibilities or duties, and that can be pretty blasé. It's much better for you to focus on your accomplishments. This means that you should change your focus to what you achieved in each position and how the organization benefited from your contribution. I won't read all the thought starter questions to you since they're in the workbook, so look at your resume and ask yourself these questions. This may take some time, so if you need to pause the video for a while, please do so. Now it's your turn. We've got some practice activities for you. On the screen, you should see a sample responsibility: waited tables in an upscale restaurant. If you were the hiring manager, what questions would you have about this? Now pretend that this is an example from your own resume, and then use your imagination to transform this into an accomplishment. And write that in your workbook, and then you'll see a potential revision on the next slide. Keep in mind, there's not a correct answer. The purpose of these practice activities is to get you to start thinking about ways to convert responsibilities and duties into accomplishments and achievements and outcomes. Here's one way to shift that responsibility from a job description to an achievement description. Accurately served 50 diners each day. With the first description, all we knew was that you waited tables. Some upscale restaurants are really tiny, so you may have only served 1 table each day. Learning that you serve 50 diners each day, now that's an accomplishment. And you did it accurately too? Wow! Look at this next responsibility and ask yourself the 2 questions. So what? And what did this result in? And then in your workbook, mold this into an accomplishment. You can see that quantifying things helps. Now we know that you've trained a lot of people. Adding the word nationwide shows the hiring manager that you have corporate travel experience. And what's great about being in the sales field, there's a direct connection to your work in helping the company achieve its goal of making money. Because of your sales training, revenues increased, which is a tremendous achievement. Here's another example. And on the surface, it sounds like this is a good thing. But the challenge here is that the hiring manager has no idea if you did this well, or if you helped the company achieve its goal, or if you can help her organization achieve its goal. So look at this responsibility and ask yourself the 2 key questions. So what? And what did this result in? And then in your workbook, translate this into an accomplishment. This is much better. You can see that your efforts in this role resulted in the company saving money and becoming more competitive in the process. By now, you should know our Superstar process. Ask yourself the key questions and then transform this responsibility statement into an accomplishment statement. When we ask, what was the benefit of doing this, we can see that this software installation led to a measurable increase in productive time for employees. Let's continue. How can you transform this statement? Here's how one of my resume clients showcased your social media accomplishments. Increased Facebook fans from 0 to 8,000 within 30 days and converted 30% of those to leads and 10% to paying customers. Wow! Okay, how can you transform this statement? If we look at the initial statement, it's too broad. Technically, reorganize the department could mean that you took a flower pot and moved it from one table to another. But this accomplishment shows things in a different light. The word streamlined indicates that you eliminated some wasteful elements, either process steps or slacker employees or something else that was no longer necessary. And efficiency is always a good thing, right? But what does that really mean? More about that later on. Now it's time to apply the Superstar accomplishment technique to your real-life resume. Take a responsibility from your resume and add it to the workbook. And then ask yourself the two key questions: so what, and what did this result in? Now transform that responsibility into an accomplishment and add it to your resume. And then keep repeating the process until you have an impressive array of achievements that you can include in your new and improved resume. You'll probably need to pause this video while you do this exercise. And when you come back, I have more insider info for you. Now, before you get rid of all your responsibility statements, please be aware that they do have some value. Responsibility statements at the top of each position can provide context. In other words, you can use a responsibility statement to give a high-level description of what you do or did in that role. Which is why I want to introduce another superstar technique here, the hybrid of responsibilities and accomplishments together. You can paint a compelling picture by starting each role with a brief description of your overall responsibility, followed by listing your achievements within that position. Look at this example. It starts by explaining this person was responsible for all HR activities for over 50,000 employees, which is impressive. You'll see it does not have a bullet in front of it. The icing on the cake is she listed some of her key accomplishments beneath that. She reduced the time to fill roles and implemented a tool which saved the company $400,000. Think about the goal of a company, to make money, and the two ways that you can do that, either increasing revenue or reducing cost. Saving almost $500,000 has a big business impact. Here are 5 more examples of blending responsibility statements and accomplishments. I won't read these to you, so be mindful as they come across your screen and check these out at your own pace. Let's taste some more secret sauce. Remember that study from the ladders? Skim readers usually have just enough time to read the first bullet below the job title. Bullets in the middle tend to get missed, so it's essential that the reader sees something significant in that first bullet so that you make an impact and that you entice them to read on. So ask yourself, what are you the proudest of having accomplished in that role, and go from there. Also, keep your bullets short and sweet so that they're easily digested. Remember, less is more. Let's go through this superstar process in your workbook. For each of your positions, start with a responsibility statement. Make sure it crisply describes your role at a high level, and then ask yourself what you accomplished in that role. Beneath that responsibility statement, add 3 accomplishment bullet points. You can pause this video to do this, and when you come back, I'll reveal the second secret to resume success.